Hey guys, what is up and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm once again going to be taking a look at Ryujinx Emulator. This is mainly going to be focusing on a pretty huge performance update that they just released in the form of their Power PR or Power Update. And yeah, it's a really big update if you're into a Nintendo Switch emulation, as it has pretty much improved performance in every single game. Now, I already covered Astral Chain, one of my very favorite Nintendo Switch titles, and if you want to check out that video, I'll have a link down in this video's description. You can either find it there or over on the main homepage on my channel. And yeah, this video is going to be taking a look at Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. I nearly forgot the name of the game there. And as a lot of you requested, I'm not going to be testing it on my main system with the 11700K down here. Instead, I'm going to be using this system here, which at the minute has a Ryzen 7 5800X in it, but I'm going to be swapping that Ryzen 7 for this Ryzen 5 3600 and then testing it in this system with this 1070. So yeah, I'm going to get that swapped over and then I'm going to test the game and you'll see what it is like, running both at native resolution, and I'm also, as I did with Astral Chain, going to be seeing how it runs at like the highest resolution I can push. So I'm going to try 2x, 3x, 4x, whatever, and see how well I can run the game for while also maintaining full performance. So yeah, I'm going to swap it out, and then we're going to see it. So I'll see you guys in a minute. So slight change of plan. I was basically trying to get a 60 FPS mod for this game so I could actually test how much the performance has increased, but obviously I couldn't get a 60 FPS mod, so instead of running the game at its native resolution, what I've done is run it at 2 times resolution scale, which isn't 4K I don't think, but it just looks a million times better than the base resolution of this game, which in itself is absolutely awful. So anyway, in relation to the hardware I'm using a Ryzen 5 3600, which I have clocked at something I think everyone's going to be able to achieve on a chip like this. I have clocked it at 4.3 GHz, and I'm also pairing it with a 16 GB kit of 3600 MHz RAM. This kit I'm using costs like $85 on Amazon, so it's not the best, but it's also not the worst. And I've also paired this with my GTX 1070, which has 8 GB of VRAM, which is plenty for running games at 2, 3, or probably even 4 times scale, depending on the title. Judging by the footage you've been watching thus far, you can likely already tell that we've been given a huge performance jump in this title also. And in my testing thus far, it is between 50 to 70% faster, at least in measurable frame rates. The reason I say measurable frame rates is because, as I said at the start of this video, I was not able to get a 60 FPS mod for this title. And since when you disable VSync on Age of Calamity, it doesn't go past 30 frames per second, there's no way to measurably test how much faster the game is actually running. But yeah, regardless, it's still a pretty sick update, and if you're looking for an emulator to play Age of Calamity on, this is definitely going to be an awesome option for you. Now, while the game does run at 30 FPS most of the time, there are still some issues that are still unresolved. Like for example, you're going to see this slowdown right here. This exact slowdown happens every single time you get to that section. It drops down to like 4 or 5 frames per second. It also happens when you do like other specific attacks, like if you do your / attack and then you do like Link's spinny attack and then do a ground smash. When like there's a big plume of smoke that comes off that attack, it seems to like drop the frame rate by like 5 or 10 frames per second. It's a little bit jarring. It doesn't like break playability anyway, but there are just a few attacks and a few situations in gameplay that can still drop the frame rate, like you saw with that like slam attack from that moblin. But yeah, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is running awesomely well on this new update, and as I asked you guys to do in my last video taking a look at Astral Chain, if there are any other games you want me to test, let me know down below in a comment and I'll test it out for you, absolutely no problem. I'm going to be doing similar videos like this for a ton of other games, so as I said, make sure to drop a comment down below and let me know what games you want me to test out. As I said, I'm obviously going to be testing out games like Super Mario Odyssey, Luigi's Mansion 3, Animal Crossing New Horizons, and so on. But if there's any games you really want to see how they're performing on this new change, especially so on a CPU like the 3600, which is very popular nowadays. So yeah, just let me know whatever games you want me to test down in the comment section below, and I'll test them out for you absolutely no problem at all. What I want to do now is just leave you with a few minutes of unedited gameplay. Basically, I'm just going to leave the rest of this mission play out. This is going to give you the best representation of exactly how the game is running, exactly what the performance levels are going to be like, how the game renders, and what kind of frame drops you can expect to see when playing this game. One thing I probably should have noted at the start of this video is the fact that all gameplay that I capture pretty much in any of my videos is captured with fully built shader and PPTC caches. So yeah, those are two things you're going to need to build when you start playing this emulator. Otherwise, you're going to have loads and loads of stutter, but I like to do demonstrations with those already built since it's really not a hassle to build them. All you really need to do is just play your game and they'll naturally build as you play. Anyway guys, thank you all very much for watching, I greatly appreciate it. As I said, let me know what games you want me to test and I'll do that for you, no problem at all. Once again guys, thanks for watching. As always, remember to like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see all future videos from me.
うん